If we don't take care of our wilderness area, then who's going to? Today I'm sharing 8 ways that we can all practice leave no trace in the wilderness. Leave no trace is the terminology we use to talk about how we can best minimize our impact on the surroundings around us and to keep our nature and surroundings intact by doing so. The first thing we can do to practice leaving no trace is to bring some sort of garbage bag or garbage package while you're out hiking or camping. This way, if you come across litter or if you create garbage yourself, you have a place to put that. You can put any kind of unnatural waste in this garbage container, anything from your doggy's doo-doo to a little zip tie that you found on the ground while you were hiking, to a broken hairband that you have. Even food waste can go inside this garbage bag. Just having a place to put your garbage and to put litter that you come across really helps us increase our likelihood of not leaving any trash or unnatural debris in the wilderness. Another way that we can leave no trace is by avoiding moving and disrupting the natural things around us. For example, if you're camping and there is a big rock in your campsite, you can use it to sit on or to place your things on while you're cooking. I like to use those big rocks to put my pots on and balance, and that's where I put all the food. But we don't want to move those things. If you're going to set up your tent, choose a place that's already cleared out and flat. Oftentimes campsites have obvious places for you to put your tent that's already been cleared out and used by people in the past. Avoid creating new places for your tent. Avoid clearing rocks away from areas for your comfort. And also, if there are logs or stumps, you can use them where they are, but we don't want to move those things around. I'm thinking specifically right now of the boundary waters. When you're in the boundary waters and you go to a campsite, oftentimes there are logs already set up around the fire grate. Use those, don't move them. The ground where they're placed has already been disrupted, and we don't want to increase the impact of our camping by moving and changing the campsite to meet our preferences. We're there to work around our natural surroundings, not to make our natural surroundings work around us. A third way that we can practice leave no trace is by leaving things as they are, and this can be human artifacts as well. When you're in wilderness areas, you may come across indigenous or native people's cool art or things that they've made. Leave those things to be enjoyed by other people in the future. Especially in national and state forest and wilderness areas, these things are meant to be enjoyed by all. If you come across old logging or railroad artifacts, those things should be left as well. These might look like old litter that you want to take out, but these things are historic, and it's part of enjoying the natural areas that we're in is by seeing a little bit of the history. An old plastic Mountain Dew bottle that you find floating in the water is not a historic artifact. Other things that we want to leave in place are things like moose antlers or deer antlers or really cool rocks. These things are part of the natural environment, and by taking them away, we are disrupting the natural flow of the habitat. The fourth way we can practice leaving no trace is by helping others to leave no trace. If you are portaging your canoe from one lake to the next and along the path you see something that somebody dropped or left behind and they are nowhere in sight, pick it up. I've picked up people's water bottles that they've dropped, lots of fish hooks, and other little pieces of litter as well as personal items that were just left, forgotten, or lost. By picking up these things, we are helping others to leave no trace because accidents happen and sometimes we drop things or leave things or lose things. The general rule of thumb is to leave things how they were when you got there. But if when you got there there was litter, then fix that. This is pretty self-explanatory. A fifth way that we can practice leaving no trace is to pack out leftover food. If you made a ton of food and then realized that, well, the people I'm camping with or hiking with aren't really that hungry, then what you can do is you can pack that food out with you. We don't want to leave it out on the ground for animals to eat or find, and sometimes you can get away with burying it, but the best is to either eat it anyway or pack it out with you. This is another reason to bring either a garbage container if you're going to throw the food away if it's not going to last, or even bring Tupperware so that you can pack it out with you if it's something that's going to last and you can eat later. The best way to avoid food waste is to assess the group before cooking, and only make what you're going to eat. A sixth way that we can practice leaving no trace is by not leaving our accidental food leftovers on the ground. If I'm sitting around a campfire, I am often eating marshmallows or trail mix. Both of those things get dropped on the ground all the time. If I drop my melted marshmallow on the ground, I pick it up and I pack it out with me. If I drop trail mix, even just peanuts on the ground, I pick those up as well, and I either brush them off and still eat them, or I pack them out with me. Because even though peanuts aren't necessarily going to harm other animals just from eating them, it's still causing unhealthy, unnatural behaviors for these animals to be coming to the campsites, coming to the hiking trails to find food. If you enjoy my channel or learn anything from it, make sure to click that like button and subscribe. It means a lot to me and it helps my channel. A seventh way we can practice leaving no trace is by finding the perfect spot for your hammock, or hammock, however you say it, to be set up in a place where branches aren't going to bother you. If you can find a perfect place, if you're lucky enough, hang your hammock up there. If there's no great spot for your hammock at your campsite, then you might just have to put up with the branches. We don't want to be hanging our hammock up and realizing there are branches in our face and then chop those off a living tree. We never want to cut branches off of a living tree. It's better for us to either move our hammocks or to just scout it out better beforehand. An eighth way that we can practice leaving no trace is to kind of do the same thing but for your tent. Scout a great spot for your tent. Somewhere where we're not going to have to move rocks to be comfortable, cut down branches for the tent to fit, or a place where we're going to have to dig a trench for the tent. All of these things are not leaving no trace. We never want to dig a trench to avoid water coming by our tent, or cut off branches again from a live tree, or move rocks unnecessarily. If you're going camping, especially in places that have designated campsites, there are places already set for your tent. We don't have to create extra impact on the ground by finding new places. If you find that there's no great spot to put your tent to avoid water running right under your tent when it rains, then that's how it is. I've had that happen to me before, and we still aren't going to be digging trenches around our tents, especially in designated wilderness areas. These are 8 ways that we can all practice leaving no trace. Again, it's a practice. We get better with it and we learn as we go. These are some things that I've learned or experienced or noticed that can help us leave no trace. These are also things that I've learned from other people along the way. You can think of other ways that we can practice leaving no trace. Put those in the comments below so we can all learn from each other.